Hey folks, before we get started, I just want to remind you we got a YouTube channel, so if you're watching this in another way or you're listening to it on the iTunes, then go over to YouTube and subscribe over there. We get videos and clips. If you're watching this on YouTube or Patreon, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen. We're on Stitcher and iTunes and all that fun stuff. But now, let's get into the show. Folks, welcome to Apocalypse Soon, the podcast with no upside. And now, in person, live, he's got short pants on, but he's got long rants. It's Eddie Pepitone.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Apocalypse Soon, the podcast with no upside. And by no upside, I mean there's nothing redeemable about this podcast. There is a lot of strife going on in the world. By the way, we're back in the studio for the first time in a long time. I just want to relate a very quick story. I went to Rite Aid, and a woman ran a stop sign on me, and I pointed to the stop sign, and she got very angry that I corrected her. And I was like, good, I'm back in L.A. I'm back in the fray, you know, because I was hiding out in Woodstock for a while.
Yeah.
Before I went on tour. And I was in nature so much for 3.5 weeks that I was talking to finches.
Oh.
I was walking around kind of naked on the property, just talking to deer.
What's kind of naked mean?
Kind of naked?
Yeah.
I had a newspaper covering my genitals. I mean, like holding today's newspaper.
Ah, okay. That's good. Well, then you and the finches have a lot to talk about.
Well, have you ever, like, really communed with nature?
I don't think I can say that I have. I mean, I've tried. I've been in the middle of a thunderstorm in a swimming suit. And I've raised my arms to the heavens in the mountains. And that was probably the closest I came to communing. And all my friends were telling me that the campsite was going to get flooded out. And I was like, it'll be fine. I have to commune.
Hey, speaking of floods, I don't know about you, but I found the whole Burning Man thing to be very funny.
Yeah.
There was something funny about it. I don't think many people died. I think one fella died.
Yeah, he's probably going to die anyway.
Drug overdose.
It was overdue.
Not overdose. But, yeah, and a couple of people I know were there. Tom Rhodes got stuck at Burning Man.
Oh, really? He was stuck out there?
Well, there's 70,000 people were stuck there.
Yeah.
Did you follow this story?
I followed it a little bit. I saw on a lot of people walking around barefoot in the mud and, like, just a bunch of guys, trying to get mud off of their bicycles. I also saw somebody blocked the road in a peaceful protest on the way to Burning Man. I watched a video about that.
What happened there?
It was like a couple and maybe another person were there, and they put up all these signs, and then everyone is coming up like, "Hey, we're on your side. We're probably the most."
What were the signs about?
It was about drilling and oil.
Oh, good.
So, but I don't know what the correlation between that and people going to Burning Man was, but the cops came and literally, I don't know if I should be laughing about this, but just pushed the barricade out of the way with their car, and some lady was, I'm attached to this thing. She was like screaming, and she was fine, but
we all get attached to like things that we shouldn't get attached to.
Yeah.
No, but I understand, when you're protesting, there are ways to like chain yourself.
Yes.
I do just quiet, simple protests. I chain myself to my refrigerator, and nobody knows about it.
Yeah. But it's peaceful though. It's a peaceful protest.
Yeah, and I have to wait for my wife to come home to unchain me.
Yeah. She gets pissed.
Yeah. She's like, Christ, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And I say, I'm doing a silent protest about how much I eat. That's why I chain myself to the fridge.
It's a metaphor. It's like an art piece.
Yeah. But, so the Burning Man thing, I think it's all resolved now. Everybody's going home. I have no interest in going to the desert. Burning Man, though, isn't the music thing, is it? It's Coachella's the music thing.
Yes.
So Burning Man is some kind of weird, like just art. It's like an art movement, right? Kind of. Rob is shaking his head back and forth.
I don't know if they know exactly what it is, but Rob, I mean, maybe you could elucidate on this.
it kind of started out as like a neo-primitivist escape for rich people to go out into the desert. And
It was always for rich people? I thought it became, once anything becomes a thing, then these fucking cocksuckers with money descend on it, and yurts go up with AC and, you know, cable and Wi-Fi and influence. I like the idea of, oh, my sound is gone. Yeah.
I take full responsibility.
But I don't know where we were, but we were talking about, right, the rich fucks who, Rob said it was a neo-primitist movement. I wish I had a nickel for every time there was a new neo-primitivist movement.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, we should start one.
You want to?
If you wanted to start some sort of gathering of people, I think we could get a lot of traction, you know, with that type of thing.
People like to gather if there are drugs and pretty people. No, I don't care about pretty people anymore.
What happened?
What?
What happened?
I got old.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I do a little. I mean, you know, I still want to be adored by extremely attractive people.
Yeah.
How about yourself?
I mean, I can relate on the. I mean, of course, it's nice when somebody says, "Hey, you're looking good" or whatever, you know. Especially if it's a beautiful woman or whatever. But
they don't say that. That's my.
No, they'll say
they're about themselves. That's the thing about the, you know, physical beauty is that it leads to such rampant narcissism.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I mean, you see it in Ralph's, the supermarket. You know, you see it in specialty vitamin places like GMC.
Yeah, I can't go in those.
GNC. Yeah. I don't even know what they're about. I walk into these places and all they have is protein powder.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you need to diversify.
Yeah.
You know, have some bleach, Rust-Oleum.
Oh, yeah. I used to sell Rust-Oleum when I worked at the paint store.
Now I remember you working at the Verizon store.
Well, I worked
or T-Mobile, whatever it was.
I worked at T-Mobile, but in college I worked as a paint delivery guy for Wilshire Paint Company.
Now I like the idea of you delivering paint.
Yeah, it was pretty nice. I'd walk in.
Kevin, grab a couple of buckets of sky blue.
Yeah.
Not fucking deep blue, sky blue.
Dude, there were guys that would work there that were they'd tell me, oh yeah, I was dumpster diving for 22 years before I got this job, and oh you can find some good stuff in a dumpster. You can find some real good stuff in a dumpster.
I have been told as well by some reputable people that dumpster diving is the way to go.
But some of these
and
guys,
I'm like, I just inherited money from my father. I don't care to do it until that runs out.
I'm not interested in dumpster diving any longer. No, but these guys could eyeball a paint color and mix it. Like that blew me away. That would always really impress me. Some lady would come in with a pillow and they'd be like, "Can you make a semi-gloss with this color?"
And they knew what colors.
Yeah.
Well, if you've been in the paint game long enough, you know.
Yeah, but mostly it was me going out to deliver paint into completely sealed buildings where the guys would just be in there squinting and like putting on some sort of varnish, and you go in there and the
completely sealed. It sounds like a Breaking Bad type thing.
Oh, absolutely.
They seal up the building and they're pretending to paint.
Yeah.
When they're really making incredible methamphetamine.
Yeah. No, these guys were huffing it, you know, so they'd be.
I used to sand floors and refinish them, and we would get very high.
Oh, yeah.
With the varnish and then the finish, and then of course the weed after that.
Oh yeah, the real finish.
In case the varnish didn't do the trick.
Yeah, I remember going and delivering out to this one place, and I would pull up in my Mitsubishi Mighty Max with like 60 gallons, just a bunch of 5 gallons, and then waddle them over there, and I open up. I remember this guy slowly glazing a banister, and I'm just like, man, this guy's really.
By the way, I mean, I don't know if you're talking metaphorically there, slowly glazing a banister. like polishing the candle. But I know what you mean. Slowly glazing the banister.
He was glazing it. I speak as a poet periodically on accident. But I went back there 2 days later to deliver more paint to the housing complex.
And everybody was dead like 3 days. 3 days of the Condor. Who killed all these fucking people?
No, this guy was still working on that banister. Like I went in there, and I asked one of the other guys. I'm like, "Hey, what?" I thought he was. He goes, "Yeah, he messed it up. He decided he had to redo it."
That is hilarious.
It's like, okay,
but let me tell you, I worked for my uncle when I was a kid, a teenager. And, he was a contractor, so he did all kinds of home renovation. And the painting was like, you do want to go slow when you're painting. I don't know if it's the fumes or the fact that you're doing something really boring.
Yeah.
But you just kind of really just go slow with the roller.
Yeah. Plus it's there's a good texture sound, and
you
have to approach it, I think, with a level of enjoyment. Otherwise you'll just go nuts. Like my wife loves painting. Like she used to love painting. My wife. Yeah, she would peel the wallpaper off and then paint rooms, and then she didn't like it, so she'd repaint it.
Is she one of them? I don't like the people who knock down walls.
Oh, yeah.
And they do it suddenly. Like, where the fuck is the wall that was here? Oh, I thought it'd be better if we had more space. And it's like, hey, you have to run this by me. You ever come home and your fucking entire wall that you had your shows on are gone? Like, your great shows that you did.
Really?
Yeah, posters, and they're gone. So, it's more breathing room.
Yeah.
Or it opens up the feng shui. You ever have that kind of shit?
My wife. I used to come home, and the furniture would be rearranged, like every few days.
Well, is she on medication now?
No.
No, because OCD people rearrange it. It's called rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. It never works.
Well, the house was going down too, in value at least, big time. And she was.
What happened? The neighborhood went to shit, or?
I mean, just the economy. I mean, we bought that house.
2000. What we talking? 8?
We're talking,
9?
We bought it 2007, 2008.
That's when the crash happened.
Oh, yeah. We got it right before then. We really did
timing.
The wrong thing. It couldn't have been worse. We were completely upside down on the mortgage. And
what do you mean? Were you one of the people that they gave a mortgage to who shouldn't have gotten one?
No, but we did what you're supposed to do. Like, if you ask, when I was like, in my mid-20s, I would ask my wise elderly friends or family. You go, you buy the house that you can barely afford.
You ask the elders, the people sitting around fires.
Oh yeah.
Exchanging stories about.
Yeah.
You should have seen the economy in the 20s. Holy Christ! I watched men take a shit, fry it up. Serve it to their friends, and that was called a dinner party.
That's what they shit in a shingle. You think it was made up? That's real.
That's real.
No, I would and then I'd walk into their round table or at the Masons Club or whatever, and I'd go, I'm buying a house. What do you think?
Yeah.
They go, buy it to where you can barely afford it, to where it's like you still have some breathing room, and then it'll accumulate value. And you can remortgage it. And you'll be fine. And that's what you're supposed to do because
what's a remortgage?
I said the wrong word, but the refinance.
Oh, okay. I said the wrong word. By the way, folks, me and Kevin really don't have facts. We just try to be in the ballpark of reality.
Yeah.
The ballpark of reality.
And I'm to a level of confidence where I don't have to have any confirmation mentally that I'm saying the right thing. I'm like, I'm talking.
Well, most of the country doesn't believe in any kind of scientific thing anymore.
Yes.
And it's all emotional. It's all like, it's not facts that matter. It's how you feel.
That's right. It's
how you feel.
That doesn't, this whole gravity thing's hitting me wrong. It's just, I don't
nobody
know.
understands gravity. Newton was a piece of shit. You hear about what came out? Newton got Me Too'd recently.
Is that right?
I mean, retroactively.
He says if the 16-year-old falls from the tree, it's from an outside force. But we bought the house. It was like 280 grand, I think what it was. And 4 years later, it was worth like 215 grand. And so our mortgage was garbage. And then we applied for all these different loan forgiveness things, got denied for all of them because we made too much money. And then the bank said that we would have to be at least 90 days behind on the mortgage before they would even consider any sort of government forgiveness program.
So did you just not pay it for a while?
So we didn't pay it for 3 months, and then we reapplied, got denied again, and so we just kept paying it and being like, well, I guess we're just stuck here, and we'll try to do what we can. And then our second mortgage disappeared, and we hit up the mortgage company, and they go, it doesn't look like you ever had a second mortgage. And it was the weirdest thing. It was very, very odd, but it disappeared, and we were able to sell it and move here, which is, since I have moved here, it's just all been rainbows and butterflies, so thank God for that. Thank God for that forgiveness.
I recommend everybody to watch the movie that Adam McKay made called The Big Short. And it is an amazing movie about the financial crisis in 2008 and how these scumbag motherfucking Wall Street cocksucking banks and brokerage firms and what they did with subprime mortgages. And these fucks, I mean, it sounds like you were a victim of it.
I was, and then I also worked at Wells Fargo subprime mortgages. I worked there for 1 year exactly to the day.
When? What year?
This would have been a few years after I bought my house.
What year?
I can't remember years. It was probably
around.
It was after the big default.
It was?
Yes. And because they had opened so many offices in the Central Valley, it was wild. And that's why I only worked there for a year, because as I went there, I would see one office closed, then another office closed, then another office closed, until eventually it was just my office. And I think I told you about my boss, Gustafson.
Yeah.
This big hulk of a man.
He died, right?
Hopefully. I don't know. But he would dip and chew sunflower seeds at the same time, and then he would give us our morning roundup. Like, all right, guys, we really got to be putting
He'd have tobacco. He'd have a chaw.
He'd have a chaw, and we'd be eating sunflower and like trying to motivate us. And
that would be the Wells Fargo guy?
Yeah, he was my manager.
It sounds like a Popeye's chicken fella.
Dude, he would have been at home if he could only get in the right job at Popeyes.
It sounds like he should have been working in a slaughterhouse.
Yeah.
Not just in Wells. I thought all right. Anyway, they were scum. The Wells Fargo people are just pure scum, and you're part of it.
That's right. That's right. No, I couldn't cut it. It was brutal, because we would call people and be like, "Hey, you got some equity in that home? You want a pool? Come on, refinance that thing. Get yourself a pool. Have you ever wanted a boat? You could get yourself a boat. I can get you 70 grand tomorrow."
Really?
Yeah, it was wild. That was how we pitched. That's how we were supposed to pitch.
And that was after the crisis.
After the crash.
See, they should have thrown. They shouldn't have bailed out the banks.
Yes.
That's number one in these big firms. They should have let them all go under, and they should have thrown many people in jail.
Yes.
They should have thrown many motherfuckers in jail.
Yep.
And executed them on pay-per-view.
I would have paid for that.
Right, me too. $49.99.
Yeah, we don't have a town square like that anymore. It used to be you go to town
square. It's television. The town square now is television.
But there's no...
Particularly the Hallmark Channel. That is basically our town square.
But you used to be able to throw rotten fruit at criminals, as they would go to the gallows or whatever. And
well, yeah, you're talking about, the public hangings.
Yeah.
Floggings.
I would be. I mean, to see like the heads of Wells Fargo walking through, in one of those things, where they have their neck and their arms.
Goldman Sachs should have been fucking It's just, I mean, watch that movie. Everybody who's listening, if you haven't seen The Big Short, it is. Have you guys seen? Mm-hmm. How great is that fucking movie?
Incredible.
It's incredible. I want to watch it again because some of the financial stuff confuses me. Mostly because I'm on a cocktail of antidepressants. But
yes, yeah. It's hard to understand finances when you're trying to balance your own, willingness to live. It's like I barely want to live.
It's a good fucking point.
Yeah, it's and somebody goes,
"It's a damn good point."
Let me tell you about the financial crash of 2007. You're like, I don't even know if I want to live, but I'm paying attention. But that's why there's
as much as I can pay attention, because when you're depressed, your concentration is absolutely horrific.
What was that? What were you, you were saying something?
Very good.
Thank you.
This is the kind of vaudeville theater. I think it's time for a guided meditation.
God,
we're back in the studio, folks, after I've been away for 6.5 weeks.
It's been too long.
Yeah, 6.5 weeks. I was sick for 3.5 weeks with bronchitis, and then I was traveling all over. I went from the Northeast. I went from Chicago to the Northeast, and then the
you
Rockies.
Had COVID, right? You had COVID in Chicago.
I didn't have COVID. I had bronchitis.
That's right. Everything's COVID, though.
COVID is really going around again.
Yeah.
It's right.
Yeah.
Have you gotten it again?
No, but I got the commercial I got because the actor that they chose got COVID. And then I got a call with like 12-hour notice saying, "Hey, can you be here?"
Is that right?
Yeah. So I was like, "Yay, thanks."
What
COVID.
was the commercial for?
That was the corporate training one.
That's not a commercial. That's an in-house video, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. It feels the same to me.
It doesn't matter. You just throw out things that are ballpark.
Yeah, I was doing a lot of I just
commercial in-house video. Who gives a
whatever they want me to do, as long as it's not pornography or whatever. And even that I'd have to run.
By the way, I don't know if anybody's seen this, but there is the entire pornography industry is united against diabetes.
Really?
I'm kidding. I just thought that would be a funny thing if all porn stars, like they're getting banged, like someone who's getting banged from behind just goes, "Oh, hi," to the camera. Going, "Have you heard about metmorphin?" Which is a diabetic thing.
When I wanted to say before we do this guided meditation, it is nice. It's really nice to have you back.
Oh, thank you.
And just the feeling of when I knew your plane was landing, and I could feel kind of a weight coming off of me that you're back in California, and it's good. Your presence makes me feel a little bit better. So
it should. Yeah. It is good to be back, and one thing about the road, it's great. It's also exhausting, but the thing that really throws you is that you're out of your routine.
Yeah.
And when you get back home, you're like, okay, I used to take walks in the park.
Yeah.
Let me go walk it. Like just little fucking things. There's Fred in the park.
Yeah.
I remember Fred. Leave me alone.
Instead,
Fred will yell. Huh?
Instead, you're walking down the highway because it happens to be by the hotel.
Right. You're walking down a hotel highway. And in Florida or something, and Trump people are driving by, all that kind. And you're just like, where am I? I should do some exercise, but it's too hot, and you're exhausted from going on the plane, and all that stuff.
Especially in Florida, it's brutal.
And then the thing is that when I'm on the road, my job is to do the show at night. And so I always conserve my energy. I'm always like, that's like, even subconsciously, I'm going, okay, I have a show tonight, and I have to kind of pull all my resources together to fucking continue the Pepitone legend, which is fucking precarious at best.
Oh, that's what I believe that's what the New York Times called it.
Yeah, precarious at best.
By the way, I've been listening to some guided meditations, some regular guided meditations.
Oh, real ones.
Yeah, and I thought a good thing to put in your tool chest is they ask you to repeat things to yourself.
Oh,
And I
that's
thought-
affirmations, I think.
Yeah, but a lot of them they'll do that. They'll be like, you're
Let's-
whatever in a field and whatnot. And
You're what?
They'll be like, you're in a field. You see a bright light and it's pumping through your head and down through your extremities with every in exhale. I listen to some weird kind of meditation. It's pumping through
Yeah,
your
right.
extremities. But
Yeah.
then they'll say, repeat to yourself. I'm okay. I'm worthy of love.
So you're listening to them? And
Yeah.
Are things going south for you? Is that why you're...
I'm trying to reverse
People who listen to that stuff really are just damaged.
Oh yeah, you're describing me.
And I'm one of them. You know what I listen to? I think I've told you this and I've told the audience this, but I listen to rain and thunderstorms.
Oh yeah,
I guess it's called white noise, but I love it.
it's great. Yeah, I love it.
You love it too?
I
This is a funny thing. I was in Colorado listening to rain and thunder where I was staying, and then I took out the earbuds and it was raining and thundering. I was like, wait a minute, I don't have to use YouTube when I'm not in L.A.
one of the best sleeps I've ever had in my life was when I was camping, and it was raining, and I had an inflatable mattress, so I had a great place to sleep. But being on the inside of my tent, hearing the thunder in the distance and the rain on the tent,
The rain
was amazing.
The rain on the tent. There's nothing like rain on a tent, and I don't mean that metaphorically. I just mean rain on a tent.
Should we get into this
Yeah,
guided?
let's do it.
Hey, folks. And now, relax your body, relax your mind, and ease into another guided meditation with Eddie Pepitone.
Okay, everybody. Welcome to another guided meditation. I want everybody to remove their gun belts, take the knives out of your pants, forget about the debt you owe, forget about the fact that people ran a stop sign on you today and gave you the finger for some reason. Didn't make sense to you, but then again, it was an attractive woman, and that's the most action you've had in a while. So just breathe all of that negativity out and feel your gluteus maximus hit the earth, your rear end, your ass, your catcher. Feel it hit. Feel it resting on the earth. It's not being actively pummeled. Right now, it's just an ass that's on the earth. Feel the earth screaming about the eco-collapse. And let that go. Feel the earth screaming, all the species, 100 to 150 to 200 a day becoming extinct. Let that go. Let that go. And let go of the fact that you get threatening letters every day under your windshield from someone you don't know. And you look around and wonder who it is. And then through therapy, you realize you've been leaving them for yourself. And now, with your first out breath, I want you to breathe out the fact that it's only a matter of time before you either perish in a fire, a flood, a mugging, or just out of plain boredom. Just breathe that out. Let everything out. Let out Burning Man. Let out Burning Man, visualization of, I want you to visualize for a second entitled pieces of shit in mud, and how good that feels. Entitled people who go into the middle of the desert and I don't know what they do really, and they just sit there in the desert, and then a huge rainstorm comes, and one of the tenets of Burning Man is to be self-sufficient, and then it becomes Lord of the Flies. Breathe that out, and now with your next in-breath, I want you to breathe in the harrowing potential conflicts that are happening all over the world. We have at least 7 nations armed with nuclear weapons. The United States dollar is soon to be not the world's currency, as Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa have gotten together to create another currency, and that will deflate the value of everything in America. If you think things were bad now, just give it 10 years and you'll be soon strapped to the car, strapped to the front of a 4x4 by a warlord here in the United States. And by warlord in the U.S., that would be someone roided up who's a big Dallas Cowboy fan. Something of that nature. And now, with your final out-breath, I want you to see yourself swimming. Just swimming, and there's a shark right behind you. As you know, shark attacks have gotten worse because we have destroyed their environment, as we've destroyed all environments on our little blue ball. And I'm not talking about blue balls where you get very excited only to have your partner say, I just got an emergency call to go to the hospital. And your balls are blue and swollen. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the blue ball that is the earth. We've destroyed it, and you're swimming in a shark is right next to you, and you've read all the shark attacks, how usually a leg is severed, or some people have been absolutely cut in half, and that fate awaits you. Just see that in your head, but also see a golden ball of light. I know this is a mixed signal, a shark about to cut you in half, but you see a golden ball of light, and you go toward the golden ball. And just as you're about to reach the golden ball, you feel the teeth of the shark, and your legs are now parted from your body, and you don't even feel pain. It's much more than that. It's a pain that is so great, there's silence. Your blood dripping into the ocean, and your last thought is, my God, I was going to have lasagna tonight.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for joining us on another guided meditation with Eddie Pepitone.
Well, that felt good. You know, it feels good in general to lift people out of the goo that they live in. Most people live in a goo, I think.
I think so too. I feel like I live in a mental goo, a blue liquid of motion, like trying to punch underwater sometimes,
Yeah.
That might be just me, but
No. The goo is comprised of confusion, agitation, lethargy, desire, it's just the goo that keeps us down.
I feel like the more if I'm smoking a lot too.
Weed?
Like, if the high is still the fun part of weed's always there, but in the silences, I feel that weight, that kind of lethargy, or like the the I don't know, just inability to kind of move at a higher pace, and I start thinking about that stuff a little bit.
Right. I just want to say this keeps popping in my head, but I was, and this isn't to brag, I was shopping at Whole Foods the other day, and I was looking for a product, and I went up to this guy in Whole Foods who was probably the most together man I have ever seen. He worked there. He was cut like a god, like a god. And not only was he cut, and he was bald too, so he was very streamlined. You know how the baldness, when you're really in great shape, and he had very clear eyes. And usually you're the customer, you feel like you have some status over the employee.
Yeah.
But I went up to this guy just begging him to answer my question, because I didn't feel like I was worthy to ask him where the Greek yogurt was. And he had such an air of togetherness about him. I said to myself, what is he doing here in Whole Foods? Because if you're that together, I feel like you should at least be at Wells Fargo.
Yes.
Or J.P. Morgan.
Yeah.
Or Chase, and just orchestrating some kind of scam on. But he really, it was just amazing, like, to be in the presence of this guy who was, and not only that, but when I started asking him, I asked him, and then I segued from Greek yogurt into some kind of mushrooms, like they were these mushrooms that are supposed to help with brain fog. And I said to him laughingly, not psilocybin. And he looked at me with his incredible steely gaze, and he said, I know. And I just felt comfort. I could have fallen into this man's, I almost wanted to just like fall into his arms and say, please take care of me for the rest of my life. Please take care of me for the rest of my life. You seem like you're so fucking capable.
There's guys like that they'll almost take your breath away. You know what I mean? And like and it's not in a sexual way, but there's like an envious.
No, it was not in a sexual way for me, but whatever he wanted to do with me, I obviously would have let him do.
Yeah.
Like, in other words, if he took me home and he said, hey, I do want to rub you in oil and have my way with you, I would say absolutely. Whatever you say, Chuck.
Hey,
no, a guy like that does not have a name like Chuck.
You don't think so?
No, it's no.
What type of name you think a guy like that has?
I'm gonna go with Rupert or Nigel.
Nigel, he's like an English name, and
he wasn't English though. Maybe that's wrong. Stephen,
yeah.
Or
I always see Chuck.
Caligula.
Caligula. My default for that guy is like Chuck or Hank. Or like just like a guy in a foxhole name,
Oh yeah, okay. Well, Anyway, I just wanted to say that, and I got it out loud because I said it out loud because you're supposed to bring your demons into the light.
Yes.
And I feel like this was gonna go into being a demon.
Yeah.
For me, if I kept it to myself, I would probably make several trips back to the Whole Foods looking for him.
Is this a local Whole Foods?
Yeah, it's here in Toluca Lake.
You go and you just keep buying one item.
I keep asking about the mushrooms to him.
Hey,
hi, it's me again. But the thing is I don't think he would tolerate it. He would see through me immediately.
He's like, guys do this to me a lot,
Yeah, or just go, hey, buddy, I understand what's going on. All you have to do, what I do is he probably would say something like this to me. Look, I don't eat sugar. I exercise regularly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, you do that, except the exercise. Are you exercising?
A little bit. I don't go crazy.
That means no to me.
No.
The way you said "little bit," I mean, if you know, you can't shit a shitter.
a little bit means like
You're not doing it.
once or twice a week I'll get inspired. Like
And do what?
like today I was like, I have energy. What is this?
Right.
And I got home from taking the kids to school, and I walked up the stairs. I was like, and I was really flexing my butt cheeks, when I was walking up the stairs. And so then I was like, oh, I'll really slow it down and then I ran back down the stairs and I did it again. And then I went outside and I touched the ground and I jumped up and I did that. Like, I was probably out there for like maybe 10, 15 minutes.
That's good. I don't know why they're laughing, because that is exercise. If you can exercise for more, for 10, 15 minutes a day, you will increase it. But
Yeah.
you have to keep doing it. You can't do it like you once every leap year.
Yeah. Well, or I'll do another thing where I'll just like I'll
Mm-hmm.
be at my editing desk or whatever, and I'll just kind of hover over it, and I'll kind of flex my butt cheeks again.
You seem to be very focused on your butt cheeks.
My ass disappeared, Eddie. I don't know if this ever happened to
Oh, you don't have an ass anymore?
you. It disappeared.
What else disappeared? Your second mortgage. Go ahead.
No, like I used to. People used to, call me Bubble Butt as a joke.
Is that right?
Or I always had a nice ass, and as I've gotten older, it's gone. It's like disappeared.
Boy, aging is a cruel mistress.
It's no good. My pants.
Also a cruel mistress you can get on any one of these websites.
Oh yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like, some of these ladies, they'll tell, they'll say, it's still there. I know they're full of shit. I know it's the truth. But my pants are even sliding off. I got to wear belts. It's no good.
Have you thought of butt implants, which is a thing?
Yes.
And I was rejected for it because I made too much money.
Yeah, well, you can't bust $70,000 a year. Once you hit that threshold, they go, no ass cheeks for you, sir. No, I couldn't do the implants.
You couldn't?
I couldn't do it.
They're very safe, and they're done at any branch of NASA. Cape Canaveral, if you're in the Florida area.
Is that what the scientists have been working on?
No, I mean they have them there. They have them at the NASA locations.
Well, I've seen enough pictures of these women with it's always like some seedy National Enquirer type thing where it's like, look at what Kim Kardashian actually looks like.
Does she have butt implants?
Oh yeah. She's got ass implants. Everything.
She does?
Oh yeah.
No wonder.
Oh yeah. I mean the
No wonder. No, I've looked at Kardashian's ass and go, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. It's too much.
So it isn't real, her
It's
ass.
not real. And if you look at the undoctored
I don't know why
photos,
that isn't talked about more.
I think it should
as
be
our
front
country
page
goes
news.
into a decline.
Yeah, her undoctored photos look pretty funky. They look pretty.
Really?
Oh yeah. Feel free to look it up.
I don't involve I get fascinated for 2 seconds. You brought it up. She's got a fake ass. I go home and listen to Chris Hedges talk about the empire in decline.
But you could do it on your phone, and all
I
that
don't
thing.
do that shit.
No, you're absolutely right. Your
Everybody's
instincts
into
are on point.
Beyonce so much as well.
Yeah,
And I don't care.
I don't think she's had any work done. I wouldn't disparage.
No,
the
she
good
looks
name of
great. I
Beyonce.
mean, she looks great, and I'm glad she's doing well financially.
Yeah. I pray for her every night.
I pray for it. That would be funny, like Taylor. And God, please look down on Taylor Swift. Do you know that, they've talked about how Taylor Swift changes local economies when a concert of hers comes into town?
Yes.
Because, it drives the restaurants, the hotels.
Yeah. It's wild.
it is, yeah.
The influx of money into LA for her 7-day
Right.
arena show was multiple millions.
I've probably heard of Taylor. Do you guys like her music?
It's okay.
It's
It's background noise.
It's background, not good music. Yeah.
Lots of hits. She's comparable with Michael Jackson on the amount of hits that she has, though.
Do you listen? You seem like a Taylor Swift person.
Oh, I love it. No, I mean, it's fine. I mean,
What kind of music do you love, Kev? I've been away for a while. I forget.
I mean, I like blues. I like jazz. I played jazz.
Those are your favorites?
My favorite type of
interesting.
music is music.
I love blues. I like jazz a lot. You know,
It's I listen for the difficulty level of the music. That's something that I listen to, and I'm like, oh, this guy's incredibly talented. Like if I listen to something, like I'm listening to Dave Weckl live and very plugged in, which is this drummer who's just a savant of music and whatnot. I like that kind of stuff, but I also really love like 80s love songs. I'm a big fan of that type of stuff.
Go from Dave Weckl, esoteric drummer, to raindrops are falling on my head. All right, well, let's do a Drive It in the Rain.
Okay. And I actually had a new segment I thought we could do that was just
By the way, I
inspired.
threw out some new segments out there, and I hope people, let's talk about that for 1
Yes.
second. Why did people get confused about there were no episodes when I was working my ass off on the road to send them out?
Well, I think it's because there's some people on the Patreon that are Patreon subscribers, but that are not actually subscribed to the podcast on any platform.
But that's weird, because if you're a Patreon subscriber, it seems to me you should have access to everything.
They have access. It's free. Yeah, you just
I
would need to
understand that, but
subscribe.
why don't they know? Why didn't they know
I don't know.
that the audio was out?
You posted videos every week, so I'm not sure. I am not sure.
Oh, okay. So it's on them, I think you're saying.
I am 100% saying it's on them. I don't know how you would do a Patreon. You would subscribe to a podcast Patreon without being subscribed to the actual podcast. Like, how would you know about it? I don't know. It eludes me.
All right, but we had a little bit of difficulty, and I did a couple of weird characters.
Yes, Where's Rupert is another.
Did you like Where's Rupert?
I like your esoteric weird stuff because
I was having fun in that little bedroom in Woodstock.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, besides what I was doing in that little bedroom with the podcast.
Yeah.
You know, I was I liked the guy who couldn't stop masturbating.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That was crazy.
That was a good one.
I liked Bink Finkelstein taking over the podcast. A lot of people gave me some kudos on that.
Yeah, well, I think it was good to have a mix-up. But at the same time, I was like, God, please don't let him do this again for the next one. I'm like,
oh, yeah.
Because I was like...
it was too much. It was, I mean, for me, it was a lot to keep track of.
Yeah.
In my head.
Yeah. I mean, it was great. It was one of those things
and
where
you
it's
did a
like,
great job editing and putting in sound effects.
I wish we had like a cartoon artist or something to make that into like the drama that it was, of it happening. But I added like you getting hit or tased or things like that. It's fun.
Well, I know the guy who did Finding Nemo, so I'll ask him. Let's do a Driving in the Rain.
All right. And now, Driving in the Rain with Eddie Pepitone.
I started laughing in my car because it was another night here in Los Angeles where the atmospheric river from the warming of the oceans. I don't know if any of you were following the fact that the oceans are warming at an alarming rate, which is creating hurricanes. We now have a category more than Category 5. It's called Category Fuck Me. And that's what I was dealing with. Category Fuck Me hurricane. And I had to get this chicken McNugget meal. It had chicken McNuggets. There was an ice cream sundae that was melting next to me. And there was a large Diet Coke. Chicken McNuggets with 3 different dipping sauces. One of the dipping sauces was titled, "We Are All Gonna Die Soon." It was McDonald's most popular dipping sauce. And people would dip their McNugget in it and realize, oh my God, it's almost over. And I was driving through the rain, and it was bashing my windshield like an offensive lineman for the Green Bay Packers in the day of Bart Starr and Paul Hornung. It was bashing my windshield like the power of a man who just got laid off from a factory he worked for 20 years, and all his self-esteem had been taken from him, and he decided to do methamphetamine and run toward my car. That's how hard the rain was coming down, and it battered my windshield. It battered my windshield more than anyone had battered a piece of chicken, than anyone had battered a domestic partner. This rain was battering my car like an unbelievable psyop by the CIA. And the Sunday was melting, and today I had to deliver to an old Italian movie star named Vittorio Salini. Vittorio used to be a big star in Italy, and now he was just a stump. He had lost all his limbs. He only was a torso, and part of his head was wobbly. And he was waiting in a little wagon that was pushed by one of the famous directors in Italy, Sergio Leone, who used to do spaghetti westerns, and now they're called fettuccine westerns. And so I was trying to get to this stump of a man who had a wobbly head, Vittorio Salini, who in his younger days he made out and kissed and made love to Sophia Loren and Gina Lola, Brigida, Greta Garbo, and weirdly Jean Kilpatrick, the Secretary of State of the United States. They had a fling. Kilpatrick wasn't much of a looker, so she basically just performed fellatio on Salini. And I was driving toward him, and my car, I came to a very giant lake of water, and recently I had watched all these weather fucks say, "Don't drown, turn around." So I went right toward the lake, because I welcome sweet death at this point. I was only making so much money in my Uber / Lyft / Uber Eats / Instacart / DoorDash / Bloodmobile / Bookmobile. And I saw the little stump in the wagon up ahead, and he was getting excited. He saw me. He saw my light blue Uber light in the distance, and he saw me, and he started waving his torso. He couldn't wave. He didn't have arms. He just waved his torso. It would just gently rock back and forth with excitement. And I got through the lake of water. I pulled up in front of Sergio Leone, who was actually dead, just standing there, dead, next to the stump. And I said, "Vittorio Salini." He said, "How you doing?" I said, "I loved you in those spaghetti westerns." "Thank you. You know I fucked the Gina Lola Brigida?" "Yeah, I heard that." "Well, I got your McNuggets here and your sundae." "Well, as you can see, I can't get it. So, can you put it in the wagon?" "All right, buddy. By the way, have you heard my impersonation of the Italian alien?" "No. Can I hear it?" "All people of Earth, suck my dick." That's okay. It's a pretty good impersonation. Thank you for the McNuggets. Now, thank you, Sergio, for all the endless Italian movies that are fucking horrible. And I hit the gas. I always like to leave on an insult. And I drove directly into the rain.
Thanks for joining us on another Driving in the Rain with Eddie Pepitone.
All right.
That was beautiful.
There's that should have been done at Easter. That was like kind of some kind of that should have been done during a holiday like Easter.
Yeah,
I should have waited for Easter. Maybe we'll release it again on Easter.
I think that's great. Yeah. No, your ability to pull these names of famous directors and people out of the. I mean, you must have gotten
Leone,
You must have gotten those mushrooms from Whole Foods. That brain fog is gone.
I don't know, but if you're listening, sir, from Whole Foods, please help me.
All right, folks. Well, hey, thanks for joining us on another episode of Apocalypse Soon with Eddie Pepitone. If you're not subscribed on our YouTube, go do that right now. And if you're watching on YouTube and you're not subscribed to the podcast, do that as well. We've got a Patreon.com/Eddie Pepitone. If you want more of this podcast, you get the video the day it comes out, and you get exclusive stand-up clips from the man himself, the legendary great stuff from places where nobody else can get filmed, such as the Comedy Store and things like that.
That's right.
Anything else before we go?
I can't think of anything. I'm glad to be back, and I hope everybody passes the word about Apocalypse Soon, and I'm glad to see everybody here at the studio.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for listening to Apocalypse Soon, the podcast with no upside.